bad, stay mad. Dip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I'll be swinging on till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact. Give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious, I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on.
Security Bank of Pulaski County, with 2 convenient locations in Waynesville and St. Robert, Missouri, is a proud supporter of the Waynesville Tigers and Lady Tigers athletics, including all their sports and activities. Security Bank is a member FDIC equal housing home lender. They can provide home loans, auto loans, whatever type of loan you need, and whatever support you need, give Security Bank a call or visit them in Waynesville, St. Robert, Missouri. Welcome here to Friday Night Football, provided by Security Bank of Pulaski County. Again, thank you, Security Bank, for providing this coverage of this ball game here. We have the Waynesville Tigers on the road tonight. We are live here in Nixa, Missouri. They are the #1 team in Class 6. This means bonus points for Waynesville here, so chance to stay ahead. They are currently sitting higher than Hillcrest in our district here. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But first, we're going to take a quick commercial break here. And again, coming into this, as you know, Waynesville Tigers are 0-6 on the season. Nixa is 6-0. That is all the numbers we really need to know right now. Tigers looking for that first win. We'll be back talking about the districts coming up, and we'll have more. We'll see you then. Central is a proud supporter of Allen Hilliard Sports for a couple of years now. Be sure to reach out to them on Facebook or give them a call for all your glass needs, whether it be windshields in cars or doors for your home. Auto Glass Central can help. Home Plate Grill in Dixon, Missouri is a proud sponsor of Allen Hilliard Sports, and a great place to eat. Grab a burger, grab some waffle fries. They have some of the best food in Pulaski County, located downtown Dixon. The Plato Athletic Booster Club is a proud supporter of Allen Hilliard Sports and the Plato Eagles again this year, especially in the Frisco League tournament, during the basketball season, and during the spring. Be sure to check them out, Plato Athletic Booster Club, on Facebook to become a member. Roscoe's Ice Cream Truck in Iberia, Missouri is a supporter of the Iberia Rangers and Allen Hilliard Sports again this season. When you see them, be sure to stop by, grab a sweet treat in Iberia. Thank you from Allen Hilliard Sports. So it is that time of the year. It is district time, and of course the first 9 games do count for districts. So first we're going to look at Class 6 in the COC here, and 3 schools in Class 6. Tigers will face 2 of them in the next 2 games. They'll be on the road against Kickapoo next week. But Nixa leading that district 6-0 with a big lead. They're expected to be the #1 seed. The #2 seed, Joplin Eagles. We do not play Joplin. Joplin at 2-4. Actually, Ozark also in that district. So 4 teams this year in Class 6. Didn't quite do the math right, but Ozark at 2-4 also, fighting with Joplin for that #2 spot. But they'll play each other either way. Then 4-5, Ray Peck and Kickapoo fighting for home field advantage. A win over Waynesville would give Kickapoo the advantage. A win by Waynesville would probably give Kickapoo the 5 seed. Now looking ahead here at the Waynesville Tigers in their district. First we'll start with Lebanon from the COC. They are the #1 seed. Capital City 2, Glendale 3, Jefferson City 4, Camdenton 5, Waynesville 6, Hillcrest 7. And the big point here is Waynesville, Hillcrest, both 0-6. Waynesville currently with a narrow lead over Hillcrest in the points. Again, tonight we'll get a 10-point bonus coming out of this. The Lebanon Yellow Jackets have a very tough schedule here, and narrowly leading over Capital City. The downfall of Lebanon should be the number 1 seed without question, but due to their schedule a whole lot tougher than Capital City this year. Glendale also fighting for that spot, so that could come down to a 3-way tie, and Jefferson City, a win this week, could muddy up the waters here. So Waynesville right now, the first round would go to Glendale if it happened next week. Depends on what happens the next couple weeks. And the other Class 5 district here that we have, which the winner of Class District 5 will play, District 6, that will be against Republic, Carthage, Neosho, Webb City, Branson, Parkview, or Willard. Again, another COC-dominated district here. Republic, the number 1, along with Carthage and Neosho in a 3-way tie. This may be one of the toughest districts in Class 5 this year. Webb City sitting not too far away at 4-2 due to strength of schedule. So again, 4 teams fighting for the top 4 spots. Could go either way. Branson at 4-2, also not too far out of the running, but Parkview at 2-4, and Willard also at 1-5 will bring up the bottom 2 teams. Depending on how their schedules go and their rest of the season, they'll be 6 or 7. That is your wrap-up for the COC football standings right now as we go into this Week 7 of the football season here. Coming up next, we're going to have a little bit of advertising, but first, after the advertising, we're going to have highlights from Waynesville Youth Football. We'll have 9th grade football, high school volleyball, and more coming up on Allen Hilliard Sports, along with a special podcast from MSHSAA. We'll see you in a little bit. Boredom of Cross Creek Realty is a proud supporter of Allen Hilliard Sports and the Crocker Lions, as well as all the other area Frisco League teams in this part of Missouri. Be sure to check him out at Cross Creek Realty for all your home needs, whether it be selling a house or looking for a house. They have homes to sell and homes to buy. Rennie Tire Pro is your local tire shop in the Licking area. Be sure to check them out for whether it be just changing a tire, buying a set of new tires, small auto repair. Check out Rennie Tire in Licking, Missouri. ZCM Timber Harvesting is your local timber harvesting service in this part of Missouri. Give Sarah Martin and the team a call. The Bank of Iberia is a proud supporter of Allen Hilliard Sports and the Waynesville and Iberia communities, along with all the other Frisco League teams in the area. Be sure to give them a call. They are member FDIC, equal home housing lender, 2 locations, Waynesville and Iberia.
Quarterback keeps it himself into the end zone. Toss to the left. Looking to beat him to the end zone and touchdown. Punters away, caught, and nobody in front of him. 20, 10, 5, touchdown. Handoff to the back. Touchdown. Ball snap. Broken 1 tackle in the backfield. 2 defenders running to each other. He's got some room in front of him. No flags. 40, 30, 20, 10-5, touchdown. Good throw, good catch, touchdown. Ball snap, handed off. And nobody between him and the end zone. 10-5, touchdown. Hand it off to the back. Makes some move. Has enough for the first down. Still on his feet. And touchdown. Running back to the left side of the field. 5 and touchdown. Touchdown. Ball is snapped, handed off to the back, breaks a tackle in the backfield with Green in front of him. 10-5, touchdown. And the running back is in for another touchdown. Quarterback keeper. Touchdown! Ball game, ladies and gentlemen.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad. Dip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I'll be swinging on till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact. Give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious. I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on.
Pawn Shop is a proud supporter of Allen Hilliard Sports and all the area schools, including the Frisco League basketball tournament. Be sure to visit them down by the front gate of Fort Leonard Wood. The Bank of Crocker, since 1911, has been in Pulaski County and the surrounding area for many years. They have home loans, auto loans, whatever loans you need. Give them a call. They are member FDIC and the Equal Housing Home Lender.
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education.
All right, so now David Goodson back to punt. Kapute, this is out of there. All right, Knighton fields it at the 10-yard line. All right, he's making people miss. Yeah, he gets out of there. Look like Daniel Knight's out of there. Will Goodson catch him? He gives it. He gives it to Julian Hollins. Oh, my God. They not. 2025 Special Team Players of the Year, David Goodson. He drives it right down the middle. That brings up the big fourth down cross. Drops back. Oh, that pocket's collapsing. He has 2 men. It is caught! James! Touchdown! James! Johnson throws it out to Dylan Chin. Moss! Touchdown! Niners! Dylan! It looked like Knighton. It looked like that Knighton has the matchup. Let's see what they do. He throws the corner route. All right, give it to Quan Sanders. Yeah, he makes a move. He has a space. To the 20 to 10. Touchdown! Legends!
Oh, that's a Sam question. I have no idea.
Why y'all be up there saying that's a Sam question and all?
He asked to go pick him up and bring him up here.
Not that he kicked it. We playing soccer now?
Whoa!
We playing soccer now?
Oh! Oh my God! This is just a free for all. Are we playing rugby? Oh my God! White chocolate! He got it! Oh my God! It was still good. Oh my God! And he hits the gritty end zone. Is it a touchdown? Oh.
Electric is a proud supporter of the Dixon Bulldogs and all the schools in their district in Pulaski County, Missouri, along with Marys County and other locations throughout Missouri. Good luck to the Bulldogs and Lady Bulldogs this season from Gas Osage Electric. G-Tech Fiber is built to last. Your local area internet run on Gas Osage Electric power poles. Reach out to Gas Osage Electric for all your G-Tech Fiber internet needs. Whether you live rural or in the city, they can provide internet. Chris Pills Basketball is a proud supporter of Allen Hilliard Sports, Pocahontas Redskins, and the area schools. Allen Hilliard Sports will once again be providing the coverage of the Waynesville youth football for grades kindergarten all the way to 6th grade this year, from week 1 all the way to the championship in November. Games will start first week of September. Be sure to reach out WIF Football if you'd like to play. Hilliard Sports would like to thank the Iowa Woo this year for allowing me to be their provider of live broadcasting services during their games up in Waterloo, Iowa. Be sure to check them out next season on the Arena League, the Iowa Woo.
1 in 10 kids vape. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes.
The Health Class Film Guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Talk to your child about vaping today.
The Dixon Athletic Booster Club is a proud supporter of Allen Hilliard Sports and the Dixon community, as well as the Dixon athletic programs. Be sure to join the Booster Club. All the money goes to help support the Dixon athletes in the community, whether it be high school, middle school, baseball, basketball, whatever it is. Check out the Dixon Booster Club on Facebook to become a member. $200 to be a corporate sponsor on the video board in the gym. Be sure to check out the Missouri Sports Network for all your live sports updates throughout the year. Check out the Scoreboard Guy on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, amongst other live sports, including a live post-game football show following every Friday night beginning week 1. And then you can join them, hang out with the coaches Monday nights, Bambinos in Springfield, for the quarterback club. See you this fall.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing we do to keep us focused.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game?
To drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health.
Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and mental health.
Find the resources you need to keep your mental health a priority.
Love your mind.
Count now for the Falcons here. Melton pitch. That is going to bring in 2 runs. Nope, that'll bring in... No, that is going to bring in 2. I would say that is a error. Pitch down. That is going to get through. Tigers are going to pick up 1. Tigers are going to pick up 2. And that's going to result in a 2 RBI double. And that's going to be a RBI single. There is the hit that the Tigers are looking for. They'll bring in Zarcone.
Next up,
Chiffon at second and third. Lindstrom. And that's going to tie this game up. That's going to give Glendale a lead. A 2-shot RBI double for Lindstrom. Runner advances off the steal. That is going to drop. And Tigers can't get to it. Runner brought in. That's a triple. Runner safe. Last inning they had. Able to pull. Johnson Insurance is your local personal insurance provider in Dixon, Missouri. Has an office right there in downtown Dixon. Been there for many years. She will personally come out, talk to you about your insurance needs. Check her out in Dixon. Pulaski Talks is your local non-biased news source for Pulaski County, whether it be local headlines all the way to the state level. Check them out on YouTube at Pulaski Talks. Tri-Town Sports is your newest youth sports facilitator, having volleyball, basketball, among other sports this year, including flag football. Check them out on Facebook, Tri-Town Sports, Waynesville, St. Robert, Fort Leonard Wood. The Licking Athletic Booster Club would like to wish good luck to the Licking Wildcats and Lady Wildcats this year as they compete in their fall sports and they get ready for the basketball season, again, as they start the year off in the Frisco League Tournament. Good luck, Wildcats, from the Licking Booster Club.
My name is Dr. Jennifer Ruckstad. I'm the Executive Director of the Missouri State High School Activities Association. Joining us in our studio is now retired Senior Associate Executive Director, Stacy Schrader. Hello. Hi. Today we're going to be talking about Jack Miles, and we have referred to Jack Miles several times on the podcast. We are in our centennial year. We've talked about Jack as one of the former executive directors, but we lost Jack in early winter of 2025. We wanted to dedicate an episode to him while he was the executive director of the Missouri State High School Activities Association. He was retired for many, many years and is a longtime friend of the association. We wanted to talk just a little bit about him. So, Stacy, you want to just go over the kind of the basics of where did he come from? When did he serve as the executive director? How did he get here? And
Sure.
I may stop you and ask more questions, but let's...
Absolutely. Jack was a Missouri guy. He grew up in Shelbina and went to Shelbina High School, now called South Shelby. But when he was there and graduated in 1955, it was Shelbina High School. Very, very involved in school participation. He letters in music and football and basketball, baseball and track, and was also part of school plays as well. And as I said, he graduated in 1955 and then came to Mizzou to get an education degree.
Okay. Now, fun fact, my mother is from Shelbina. And Jack Miles and his wife, they both attended Shelbina High School. My mom went to South Shelby. My aunt and uncle both went to Shelbina High. Jack and Darlene were nearly the same age as my Aunt Helen. My uncle, Jim Beckett, also resided in Columbia. Helen would have been a 1954 grad of Shelbina High School.
Yeah, they were small school. They would have known each other.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. In fact, my mother sang in Darlene Miles' sister's wedding. Darlene had a much younger sister, like my Aunt Helen. My mother was his younger sister. So anyway, we have a connection. Jack and Darlene and I have had a connection through my mother's hometown, but then other boys in Columbia life for quite some time. So he was from Shelbina. How did he get to work with MSHSAA?
How the job kind of developed was the executive director at the time was Irvin Keller, and his assistant executive secretary, who was Richard Duvall, was going to be leaving. Mr. Keller needed a replacement, and Irvin Keller was looking for a bright, energetic, intelligent person to become his assistant at the Missouri State High School Activities Association. And I've got a quote from Keller talking about what he was looking for. Keller says, "The board wanted a young man who would be with me for a number of years, someone that could carry on the programs that the state wanted. The board was more interested in the type of person and his abilities, not so much his experience. They wanted him to grow up with the association." And that's kind of what he was looking for.
Okay. And so he went to Mizzou. Was that correct?
Went to Mizzou, graduated in 59, stayed there and got his master's degree in education. And all the while he was working in the equipment room at the University of Missouri and knowing a lot of the folks that were involved with our championships and our activities that were going on there. And we'll hear a little bit about that from Jack himself actually today.
Okay. And then he served in the military.
He did. After he got his master's degree, he was in the military for 2 years and was in Germany, actually, when he started discussions with MSHSAA about this job.
Okay. And he married his high school sweetheart.
He did. Darlene was his high school sweetheart. And while he was in the military, they actually had 2 kids at that point in time. And one came later. Susan came later. Had 3 kids while he was working at the office.
Okay. Let's lead into Jack talking about his hiring.
Okay. I fortunately was able to, in the writing and the research for this MSHSAA Centennial book that's coming out this year, I was able to interview both Becky Oakes and Jack Miles last fall of 2024. And I've pulled some cuts out of those interviews that I did with them. And the first one I'm going to cut to is Jack Miles talking about Irvin Keller, who again was the 3rd executive director for the association, hiring him and exactly who recommended him.
He hired me out of Allen Service. I was in Germany when I was hired.
How did he know you, or how did that come about?
I had worked numerous high school events at the university. I was with the athletic department equipment room.
Okay.
So I worked the basketball here at Brewer Field House, track and field.
Gotcha.
I was also a basketball official and a football official and baseball official. And so I had many opportunities to engage Mr. Keller throughout my college career. He knew I was there and what my quality was. I worked for him on numerous occasions. That gave me a leg up, I think.
Yeah, you might mention
Smokey Keller.
Smokey Keller. Do you remember that name? I do not. Who was Smokey Keller?
Yes, J.O. Smokey Keller. He was the physical education department.
No relation, though.
Oh, really? Okay.
No.
Okay.
But he and my brother, who graduated from university back in 40, I guess, was 39.
Oh, wow.
We're very close. And he was an official, track official, started state track meet for 17 years in a row. And it was, just a personable, very nice person. And he was in the phys ed department, worked football on the Football Association, Coach of the Official Association. He was in my background in terms of the possibilities of working here. He recommended me pretty high.
Let's hear a little bit more. He has this guy in his corner, Smokey Keller, no relation to Irvin Keller. How did it end up?
The next cut I have is actually Darlene Miles explaining what Irvin Keller was looking for in an individual to replace Richard Duvall, who was leaving the MSHSAA office.
Mr. Keller, Irvin Keller, knew that this young man was going to resign. He told Smokey that he wanted to find a young man that was green behind the ears. Smokey said, I have just the man. And he sent him a letter.
So he's in Germany while this is happening. And Smokey has decided he's going to back Jack Miles for the replacement of the individual who was the assistant at that time. So he gets hired in 1962.
Started in August of 1962.
And comes to our staff, and he's just the third assistant secretary, who at the time we called Mr. Keller executive secretary.
Correct.
And we had an assistant secretary, and so Jack is hired as the third.
But he digs in and learns from Mr. Keller. Mr. Keller starts teaching him and transferring all of this knowledge and philosophy about the programs and the whys and the hows to Jack.
I don't know much history on Mr. Keller. Was Mr. Keller an educator prior to being at the MSHSAA office?
He was at the lab school at Southeast Missouri State University. He went to school there after his grammar years and eventually became the principal of that school, was a coach at that school, coached a couple of his brothers, and then became the director of the entire lab school directly before coming to Mission.
Okay. But even though he has a degree in education, Jack Miles never worked in schools.
Correct.
But he came to the association with background in obviously sports.
Education degree, master's in education, would have done a student teaching, but and came directly from the service to the association.
So now we have a number of assistant executive directors. Jack was the only one at that time. How many sports and activities was he administering?
He had everything, basically. At that point in time, from what he explained to me, Mr. Miles was very involved in overseeing Jack administer these activities. So the basketball, track, baseball, all of the activities, plus speech and debate, when the activities came in, Jack had. Mr. Keller had music. He had the oversight of music, but everybody, as is still kind of the case, everybody was involved in music. But Jack was handling everything, including the entire officiating program, setting up all of the rules meetings for all of the sports at that time. Had only boys sports as far as championships and rules meetings at that point in time, but Jack was doing it all.
Okay, he changed rules meetings to a point here in Missouri. Is that correct?
Yeah, he had to bring on, when he started, they were already doing football and basketball rules meetings. They didn't even have a football state championship yet, but they were doing football rules meetings and doing basketball. But he then, as during his early years of being assistant secretary, he expanded those rules meetings onto some different sports, which he'll talk about here in the next cut.
I would end up the rules. I mean, for football, basketball, and we started track later.
So rules meetings initially started only for basketball and football, and that were that way solo until track came in as the third set of rules meetings.
Track and wrestling.
So at that point in time, the staff was extremely small. The executive staff was really only Mr. Keller and Mr. Miles. Janie Bark was there. She was not yet a part of the executive staff at that point in time. Mr. Keller advanced her when he retired in 1977. It was an extremely small staff. They're still renting space at the MSHSAA properties by the university. And probably by the time he became executive director, there were still only about 7 staff members.
The Missouri Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association did not exist at that time. Is that correct?
Correct. He played a role in getting it started with a group of his contemporaries back then as the Missouri Athletic Administrators, and now we know as MIAAA.
Yeah, that was in 1971. So At some point, he brings Becky Oakes onto his staff, who later becomes the executive director who follows him.
Right.
I think you've got some cuts from Becky talking about Jack.
When I interviewed Becky in Springfield for the book, we did a lot of talking about the folks she knew through the years, and I wanted to spend a lot of time talking about Jack. And I never worked for Jack, but have known him my entire career here at the MSHSAA office, and saw he and Darlene at all of the championships. They were just fixtures. He always worked state track. So saw a lot of him, but I wanted to hear from her perspective what he was like to work for.
Jack was probably one of the most conscientious, fair-minded person, as a person individually and as an administrator, that I think I've ever worked with. He was always trying to make sure that whatever bylaws came in, whatever board policies got adopted, whatever we had to do in terms, he was always wanting to make sure that it was fair for everybody, that it was the right thing to do. And of course, half the people, sometimes that was the right thing to do, right? Half the time, it's not.
Action Highway 28 is your local gas station for all your small grocery needs. Also, your Hunt's Brothers pizza provider, making it fresh in the store and keeping it warm under the lights for you. Multi flavors to choose from. You get 3 for $30. Also, all your snacks, chips, whatever you need, down to your beverages and down to your sweet snacks. Check out Dog Patch. The Dixon School District has been a sponsor of Allen Hilliard Sports for many years now and continues to provide sponsorship. They have 3 state-of-the-art schools, including a high school, middle school, and an elementary school, all in Dixon, Missouri, serving the Dixon and St. Robert area children. Be sure to check them out at their new admin building on the corner downtown, just off of Main Street, the Dixon School District, Dixon, Missouri.
She also talked some about the fact that one of Mr. Miles' responsibility was cheerleading. He was instrumental in advancing Missouri cheerleading and actually wrote the first manual for the activity of cheerleading. And that was the precursor for the National Federation's first cheerleading rule book, was the Missouri Cheerleading Manual.
Jack had started the cheerleading when it first got started, so he kind of traveled. In fact, Jack was the first chair of the Federation's cheerleading rules committee. We had really upped our game with it by that time, and we were very involved. We had written our own manual. In fact, what we had, a lot of it went into the very first rule book at the Federation.
So he is running the show as an assistant for the most part. He was with Mr. Keller 15 years. You never met Mr. Keller, is that correct?
That's correct.
So what we know about Keller, we get from other people who knew him. Jack worked with him for 15 years. I believe you have a cut where Jack talks about Mr. Keller as his mentor.
Mr. Keller was a very unassuming person who was a terrific educator. He was my mentor, but he just had a way of not getting upset about things, looking to them and seeing what the solution might be and working it out as best it could be worked out. And I was very impressed. I'm very fortunate to have him as a mentor.
Okay. So the two worked together, and during that time, we expanded our office. It was close to the University of Missouri campus in the MSHSAA building. During the time with Dr. Keller and Mr. Miles, we moved.
Yeah, they heard about a gas station on I-70 Drive Southwest coming up for sale. And in this next cut, Jack is talking about that and that transition. The MSHSAA was nice enough when we first needed a building to allow MSHSAA to rent space, first in their building and then in 2 different satellite offices kind of across the parking lot they owned. We were in those 3 locations on 6th Street through the years before we were able to buy property, sat on that property for a while, and then they built the first MSHSAA-owned office building in this clip Jack talks about.
There was a filling station, and I can't think the name of the state. It just came available for a pretty good price. And so once we learned that, well, we jumped real quick. I appreciated the buildability there.
That was an amazing step for the association.
Yeah, it was.
They're all
put in the debt to do it. I finally paid off the last $1,000 of a loan before I retired.
Glad to get that loan paid off.
Just some time for us to get another loan. During his time, there was significant expansion for a number of reasons, but significant expansion for the association.
I asked him what his proudest accomplishment was during his time with the association, and I'm going to let him tell you himself what that was.
I'd say the biggest thing was the implementation of all the girls' programs. That was the big thing at that time when I first became executive director, and it basically doubled our program.
Right. And how quickly did you have to increase staff?
Well, we didn't. So that when we hit
just hours in your day.
We got by on a pretty small staff for a long time.
So he was really proud of the girls' expansions. It actually started in Mr. Keller's last part of his tenure. He retired in 77. Our first championship was girls basketball in 73, and then expanded through 74, 75, and 76, and had pretty much everything except for cross country by 1976.
Which came after Title IX in 1972. At this point, Miles is still the only assistant secretary at that time, or have we added another one?
No, he was the only assistant secretary to Mr. Keller, and then when Mr. Keller retired, became executive director in 1977.
Okay. So this expansion of girls' sports, do we know more about Jack's involvement in that? He's proud of it, but more about his involvement.
Yeah, he talks about the expansion and what it took.
Talk a little bit about when they first came in. I know it kind of came in sport by sport. Also, they started in some cases with just districts before they got a state championship. Tell me a little bit about that.
Except the school participated in a given sport, a girls' sport. At that time, we looked at going to districts, and eventually, as it continued to grow, we go into state tournament.
Okay.
Basketball probably started quickly as it did again, and I think it's maybe a year we had district only, and then the state played at different sites around the state.
And
Northwest Missouri State University and Northeast were two of the sites that picked up girls basketball quickly because that's where the big interest was. And it just took time, and as schools began participating, then he had other problems come in terms of supporting that. Rules meetings, that would be the big thing, the rules meetings. There's a lot of things that came along with that.
He talked some about, in our interview, almost overnight, it felt like to him, they'd doubled their programs, where they had all the boys' programs, and then the rapid expansion during those years up through 1976 of adding the girls' programs. Basically, the same staff was doing double the preparation and support for the activity. So it wasn't an easy time.
So he eventually brings someone else on to help.
Yes. And that's where Becky Oakes comes in. She was first hired as the assistant to the executive secretary in 1982. She tells a story that she did not witness, but it's good to explain what Jack and Mr. Keller's relationship was early on.
Mr. Keller, when he retired, I think the way, I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically, good luck, Jack. He put his hat on, he had some folders, and he said, you know where I live and you know what my telephone number is.
Okay.
Mr. Keller never came to a tournament, and he never came back into the office after he retired. Wow. I can remember when Jack had a question, a big question, which pretty much was, have you looked here? Have you looked here? Well, Jack had to do all those before he ever stuck his pipe in, got his big expandable folder, and off he's going to Mr. Keller's house. That's kind of how that worked. He did work there some. He most certainly did. But he always had an arm full of papers to go over it.
So it's surprising to me to hear that Mr. Keller, who still lived in Columbia, never came to the office. we see Kerwin Erhan 3 or 4 times a year in the office, and he lives in Florida.
Yeah.
So, everybody's a little bit different.
I expect a little bit of it was as soon as Mr. Keller retired, he started on the first MSHSAA history book. And he wrote that from 77 to 79. It was published in 79. So I think he had his work cut out for him, which I can relate to. That is a job, and he was working on that nonstop and probably talking a little bit on the phone, I would imagine, as well. But yeah, it wasn't as involved as some of our executive directors, which we love when they're involved with our activities, and we see them a lot.
All right. So Jack hires Becky to help with this expansion of girls' sports that's growing and growing in the early 80s, about 10 years in to the addition of girls' sports. And Becky gets trained by Jack.
We kind of tend to pass things down that way, where Mr. Keller trained Jack, and, here are the histories. Jack did that for Becky, and Becky did that for all of her staff members. It's kind of generational the way that works. In this clip, Becky talks a little bit about the road trips and the training that Jack gave her.
When I first came in, Jack was extremely helpful to what I would say is give me support to get my feet on the ground in the office about not only what my responsibilities would be, but also the philosophy and the purpose of a high school activities association. You've heard me say many times, I got the history lessons, and he took advantage of whenever we would go on trips, he would always take advantage to talk me through, well, we're taking this trip and we're going to do an administrators meeting. And it would be how the administrators meeting got started, what we tried to accomplish with it, what kind of the personality of that part of the state might be, what would be their, what I would say, kind of their hot topics that would come up from time to time.
Becky was able to tell some of those stories even at Jack's funeral, where she talks about the education she got in the car. They weren't all history lessons either.
That's true.
There were some really cute stories from those days. They spent a lot of time together. What were some of Jack's greatest accomplishments or most notable accomplishments in his time as executive director?
During that period of time, they really tried to emphasize sportsmanship and trying to get the schools and the membership to really understand the importance of interscholastic athletics and activities and how it was connected to the classroom. They emphasized that a lot. Obviously, the addition of the girls' state championships was huge during the end of Mr. Keller's period and the transition into Jack, and the bulk of the additions took place during Jack's tenure. The appeals committee actually was added during that period of time. Prior to that, we only had the board of directors as the one level of appeal. Now we have the 2-step process, and that started during Jack's tenure. They really started to try and use technology and specifically computers at the state championship venues during his time, and he kind of pushed that process, and that made additional things possible at the championships. He oversaw 2 different additions to the I-70 Drive MSHSAA office. They expanded the executive area for more executive staff, and they added a south addition for MASSP. They were our partners in that building for a number of years. Big title changes took place during this period. The Board of Control became the Board of Directors during Jack's tenure in 1987, and also Jack's title went from Executive Secretary to Executive Director. So lots and lots went on and advanced during his tenure as Executive Director.
As current executive director and having relationships with all 3 of my predecessors, I can say that all 4 of us have very different personalities. And I think you have a cut of Becky talking about Jack's.
Yes, she was always talking about how he was able to stay calm. So this next cut, we get to hear her describe that.
Okay.
I think I only really saw Jack get what I would call upset. I mean, really upset one time. Okay. He always was able to somehow keep all the steam underneath a hat or something.
Okay.
And I think that's what helped so many times, because we went through some very difficult times where it would have been easy that If you would have had a short fuse, it would have been easy to create additional problems for us.
So Jack retires after a long career with MSHSAA. Becky takes over. So Jack was a leader on the national level while he was executive director, but also locally. When he retired from MSHSAA, it was not the end of his work life. So maybe let's talk about national leader within the NFHS.
Okay.
A couple of the things he did.
He was on several committees through the National Federation, and one key thing in my mind was he was instrumental because Missouri was fairly early in the addition of the girls' state championships, and the National Federation did not have girls' rules for girls' sports at that time, and he was a part of the process to write the first National Federation girls' basketball rule book, is my understanding, and that was kind of a big part of being able to bring things in and get them moving, was having the rules for girls basketball.
Wasn't he also the chair of the first Spirit Rules Committee?
He was instrumental in Missouri, and Jack was overseeing Spirit in the early days before Becky came on, and we had cheerleading clinics going on, and when it was becoming a national Spirit cheerleading and dance, which was called POM at that point, Pom-Pon, they had to write a rule book for that, and he was a part of that process because we already had written one. And
Okay.
so they were able to take a bulk of what we had done into the national rule book.
And after his retirement, he went to work as the executive director of the Show Me State Games for many years.
Yes, the senior games was his area of that, and worked there for, I believe it was 10 years. I had a great career with them and advanced Missouri to one of the strongest senior games in the nation.
And of course, he had numerous awards within our state and nation, and we presented him with the Keller Award in 1992.
Yes, our highest honor.
Yes. Any final thoughts on Jack Miles in remembering Jack?
Well, his loss was a huge hole for MSHSAA. It was wonderful to have he and Darlene around at all of our events and to see them in Columbia, and not being able to do that anymore makes me very sad. But he is a person that will always hold a strong part of the MSHSAA history, and we will look forward to seeing Darlene around town and at our events.
And we do see Darlene. She's been around quite often, and we're hopeful to continue to see her. We know we will. We are as much a part of her life as she is of ours. So thank you for listening to the MSHSAA All Access podcast, Remembering Jack Miles. This is Dr. Jennifer Ruckstad, the Executive Director of the Missouri State High School Activities Association. Thank you for listening to the MSHSAA All Access podcast and having an interest in Missouri high school activities and athletics. If you enjoyed today's episode of the MSHSAA All Access podcast, or any of the episodes in this podcast, please consider subscribing or liking with your favorite podcast provider. It helps other people find us, and we really appreciate you listening and supporting the Missouri State High School Activities Association.
Security Bank is a proud supporter of Allen Hilliard Sports, and they are the main supporter this year and sponsor of all broadcasts with Allen Hilliard Sports. They've been around since World War II through the thick and the thin, supporting the Waynesville St. Robert community through all these years of growth, and continue to support the Waynesville St. Robert community through 2 locations in Waynesville and St. Robert, one in downtown by the courthouse, the other location in St. Robert. Be sure to check out Security Bank of Pulaski County for all your banking needs. They are member FDIC, whether it be car loan, house loan, they can make it happen. Again, thank you, Security Bank, for all your support. And Security Bank wishes the best for all the Tigers and Lady Tigers this season in all their competitions, whether it be arts or athletics. Again, Security Bank of Pulaski County, 2 convenient locations.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad. Dip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I'll be swinging on till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait wait, that's all fact. Give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious, I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up.